Welcome to Year 5 of the Final Corner podcast. We are back for the 2025 Formula 1 season, which gets underway from Melbourne this Sunday morning at 4 a.m. for us lucky Brits. As always, I'm joined by Nick and by Tom. Welcome, gents.
Hello.
Welcome back.
I can feel the enthusiasm already.
I was being excited there.
So, we are coming off the back of another Max Verstappen Drivers' Championship, but it was McLaren who took the Constructors, and it looks like we might have quite an interesting fight this year between the top 4 teams, potentially. How are we looking forward to that before we go to Melbourne on Sunday?
It should be very interesting. I'm still waiting to see what the pecking order is going to be. Seems to be hinting that McLaren are out front, but if it's more circuit specific, a little bit like last year, that'll be great. So as we get different cars at the front and different tracks, that's what I want to see.
I want to see the same, where it's close and then each race you don't know quite which car will suit which circuit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also a cynic, so I'm not getting too excited because we could rock up and like a Red Bull's crazy dominant again, like 2023, or McLaren does that. But also, just I always think this track is an outlier, and it's the first race this season, and I don't think the true form happens until a couple of races in. Sometimes, obviously, Max has been an exception recently, but historically, you've had like Kevin Magnussen get his one and only podium in Formula One, and that 2014 was it, and everyone went, "Oh, McLaren might be good this year." They weren't.
No.
Well, what do you think about will it be close or not, Colin?
Yes.
Good.
Yes. I do think it'll be close. At the moment, it looks like the order from testing is McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull, and then Mercedes. I don't actually think Red Bull are as far off as they looked. So I think it's going to be quite tight at the front the first few rounds.
Yeah, Red Bull had some reliability challenges, didn't they? And then you also, I always think, are they holding something back?
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see on that. And interesting, Williams set the fastest lap of testing, which does mean, obviously, that they're going to be leading the charge this year.
No, it means they're going to be, who's picking testing off, like Jordan or Arrows?
Yeah, take all the fuel out, go for it. But no, they do look good. Not top of the pack good, but I think every team is in. I don't think there's going to be a team right at the bottom that can't compete this year.
Ooh, you sure about that?
Sauber will be pretty bad, but I still think they'll be closer than they were last year.
Well, that's good. Let's hope so. It seemed pre-season testing is always very tricky. It's just one circuit. It's there was rain.
Yes.
There was a red flag for a bus. There was also a red flag for smashed glass. And these things put off programs and abandoned laps, and so you can never read too much into it. Obviously, the season journalists, like from the race or motorsport.com, they were there and they were analysing lap data and trackside car behaviour, and I think the general consensus is what we've said. But we're basing it purely on those people's opinions. And, could get to this tricky Albert Park circuit. And who knows? Nico Hülkenberg could snag a pole. No, he won't.
That's not happening again.
But Carlos Sainz and Albon in the Williams seem to be a bit more competitive at this early stage, and so do Alpine, allegedly. Old Flavio. It's all because of him.
Oh, yes.
Alpine couldn't really go backwards, could they?
No.
Yeah, true. It flatters to deceive a bit, doesn't it?
So it's going to be fascinating. So what will we do first? Will we run through team by team?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, we'll start off then with our world champions. McLaren, who have just signed Oscar Piastri to a contract extension. So we've also lined up again with Norris and Piastri for this year. First Constructors title since, I think, 98, was it? Mika Hakkinen season?
I think so, yeah. It was Hakkinen and Coulthard, wasn't it?
Coulthard, yeah. Although, as we know, they did score enough points in 2007, but disqualified.
Yeah,
Yeah, they did
we don't
steal-
talk about that.
They did steal half the car, so
Yeah.
yeah. So McLaren look like they may be early season favourites from testing. They unveiled their brake ducts today for those who are very interested in this sort of thing. They were hiding them during testing, and they look interesting, I guess, if that's exciting to you.
Not exciting, but it is interesting that they were even holding some noticeable parts back.
All I know
Love
is that
that.
somewhere Ted Gravitz is having a very private moment with himself.
Yes. So last season was a real breakout season for both the drivers. Lando took 4 wins and Piastri managed to take 2. There was quite a difference between them in the championship in the end, but there was periods of the season where I thought Piastri was performing better against Norris. So it's going to be interesting if Piastri can take the step forward and if Lando's going to be able to deal with a driver that's completely equal to him.
Yeah, if this papaya machine is dominant, let's please hope both drivers are closely matched. You only need 2 cars for a race, right?
Yeah. I think they performed pretty well last year. I know there was a little bit of tension between them, but I still think they worked well as a team in the end when the team told them what to do properly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If Drive to Survive is anything to go by, that's what was alluded to. But also, Norris did pull away from Piastri as the season got to the sharp end a bit, I felt.
Oh, yes, but he also has more experience.
Yep.
There was a period mid-season where I thought Piastri was just on him. And
definitely.
But you're right, he fell away. And I think a lot of his issues came down to tyre management, which you would always be able to say that another year of experience, he should be better at that this year.
Mm-hmm.
So do we think McLaren... Well, we'll do the predictions at the end.
Yeah, but looking good. Because it's not a driver's championship, in some respects the Constructors' Crown slips under the radar a little bit. But it seems like they had the best car because, yes, drivers are a huge factor of how they perform, but the Red Bull was maybe, based on Perez's performance, set up in a very specific way for a certain driving style, perhaps, and the McLaren seems to be more benign. So fair play, and needs to carry that on this year.
Runners up for last year, which I completely forgot about. I had in my head it was Red Bull, but miraculously it wasn't. It was Ferrari who finished second last year.
Yep.
They had 2 very strong drivers that won races, and Leclerc and Sainz. Sainz was also ousted in lieu of Lewis Hamilton, the GOAT, 7-time/8-time world champion. Very interesting in testing. Thought Hamilton looked pretty good. He's obviously still adjusting to a new car, but overall, this is a really, really exciting driver lineup to see, A, can they compete with McLaren and Red Bull, and B, has Hamilton got it to stay or beat Charles Leclerc?
Yeah, I think over the season, they will be quite close. But I think to start the season, Leclerc will have him. Just for that familiarity with I know it's a different car, but how the systems work, how the steering wheel works, how the team works. But I think by the end of the year, they should be quite close, as long as Hamilton doesn't get in that kind of downward spiral that he seems to get sometimes when things don't go his way.
Yeah, and last season, certainly the last few seasons, Lewis Hamilton has struggled in qualifying. And we know that's Charles Leclerc's strength. It's 1 lap pace. So if he goes on a run of being out-qualified by Leclerc, you're right, will he be able to keep with him, or will he? He seems to have quite a fresh attitude, certainly speaking in interviews. And he's talking about it being a multi-year project rather than just coming in and trying to win instantly. So maybe he has got a bit of expectation management already built into what he's planning on doing this year.
Very easy to manage expectations after testing, though, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
He might know the numbers.
Yeah, that's true.
I think this is the most exciting thing to happen in Formula One, but then we'll see if within a few races if it's actually going to be worth the hype or not. And if it turns into sort of like a retirement victory lap of a parade lap of, oh, right, well, a couple of years of being a clear number 2 driver. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm very surprised if that is the case, but it could be. So that's why, again, I'm not getting too carried away. Although Lewis Hamilton's own Ferris Bueller's Day Off recreation that was released today. I don't know if either of you saw that.
I've not seen this, but it sounds amazing.
You've got to watch this. I forgot to mention it before we started recording. It's on Lewis Hamilton's YouTube or Instagram, and it's recreated a scene where there's a famous classic Ferrari in that, and they've somehow managed to edit it. I mean, his acting's terrible. It's really cringe. But he's like the valet driver who then steals. They pay him to park the car, and he drives off, and Edward Norton's in it. And they jump in the car, and then they do the dance at the end. And it's really been very well thought through over a long amount of time to get the CGI all doing and all this. They basically they're in that film. But then this is a modern era of Formula One where we're talking about celebrity. And, oh my goodness, the reception in Maranello is insane to Hamilton being there, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. Which is weird because he got such a bad reception in Italy a few times before he was a Ferrari driver. Not as bad as Spain, obviously, but they just embrace anyone who wears the red. It's great to see that. But it'll be interesting as well because he's got a new race engineer, which is the first time he's had a new race engineer since, 2012?
Oh, yeah.
That's going to take a lot of getting used to.
Huge period of change in the twilight years of a career.
Mm-hmm.
All the focus has been on that, and I think that's good for Charles Leclerc to get his head down and focus on putting together a genuine championship challenge.
Yeah.
Well, you can see that Hamilton's trying to get some of his close team back around him. He's obviously brought back his old trainer who departed a few years ago, so he's also realised he's going to have a big change, so he's trying to also bring some familiarity back with him as well. So, yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how quickly he can match Leclerc. And he might trounce him immediately. We just don't know what Hamilton's got left.
Potentially the story of the season. I mean, it was the story of last season, even though it hadn't happened.
Yeah.
And it will be the story of this season if he either manages to match up, sometimes eclipse Leclerc, or if he gets nowhere near him.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know, was it the right time to retire instead? We shall find out.
Yeah. Time will tell.
Then we jump on to the Drivers' Champion for last year, who, let's be honest, ran one car last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, Red Bull, who have their 4-time world champion, Max Verstappen, still in the car. And he is partnered, finally, with Liam Lawson, who is
not Daniel Ricciardo.
No. So, Liam Lawson is making the step up from AlphaTauri, or whatever they're called now, RB...
V-Carb.
Minardi? What are they?
They're now Racing Bulls. They're officially...
Yeah, but it's still Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, isn't it?
Yes, but we can actually call them Racing Bulls.
As opposed to just RB.
Yeah.
V-Carb.
Yes. So, he's making the jump from there, where obviously he also made a mid-season entry last year, taking out Daniel Ricciardo's F1 career. So
and Perez his home Grand Prix in the process.
Yeah. Yes. So Checo's gone, probably for good at this point. Let's be honest.
Oh, can we just touch upon that? It's a bit of an ignominious end because it was coming for a long, long time, and it seems like there was no succession planning from the Perez side of management. He hasn't got a drive anywhere. Like you would think, with everything going on, you'd try and get some feelers out for WEC, Le Mans, IndyCar.
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you meant in F1. I thought there was nowhere really for him to go. But yeah, I see what you mean in the wider world.
Yeah.
You
know.
They want him to come back next year. I think is the thing. They want to get a seat for him in 26, but unless he gets a Cadillac drive, I can't see it.
Well, that's the one thing. That's a good point. Everybody on the sideline now is... Well, we'll touch upon Cadillac in a bit, but they're going to have Perez, Bottas... Oh, I don't know, Felipe Nasser. Anybody who's in an average drive, they're going to be knocking on the door. Esteban Gutierrez.
Marcus Ericsson.
Yeah.
Well, Perez was rumoured to have been paid about £11 million to go away. Which,
okay.
To be honest, if I was paid £11 million to go away, I would probably go away for a wee while.
I'd do a Kimi Räikkönen and do some rallying.
Yeah.
So, it was the right decision because Checo was pathetic at the end, let's be honest.
Yeah, you know, he's had a great career really, but it was a bit embarrassing.
Yeah. Now, Red Bull, if they are on the back foot, which they weren't the quickest car for a lot of last season, but still managed to win the Drivers' Championship with Max.
Well, because Max is the quickest driver, I think.
Well, what will happen with Max if they're not the quickest car this year and he's sitting fighting for third and fourth for the first 6 or 7 rounds?
Bearing in mind next year out there making their own power units for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, there'll be exit clauses, and he's got Toto's number.
Yes. So, what do we think of Max this year then? If they are struggling, I think he'll still be in the championship fight as we go into the last few rounds. But if he's in a struggling car, we've seen at times his frustration boil over.
Yeah, his emotions get the better of him, and not in a good way when he's not right at the front. But that would just make it more interesting for everyone else.
Could see some real elbows out driving.
Yeah. I really think the biggest question is if Lawson pushes him, which I'm not expecting him to do, at least not initially. But if he does, how will he react to that?
It's the first time since Gasly and Albon, really, that the second seat is like an up-and-comer, let's say.
Yeah. And I do like Lawson. I personally think Tsunoda should have had the seat. I don't think he was brilliant, Tsunoda, but I think he did enough to warrant a shot at it. But yeah. Lawson's in there. He looks really good. How good is he going to be?
I think he's a great driver, but it's going to be difficult in that team environment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a one driver team, essentially. The team's built around and to serve Max.
Yes.
So being that second driver, it's going to be tricky for Liam. But I think he's got the pace to cause Verstappen a few issues.
Yeah, I do. It was interesting the way they worded it when they signed him, that we need a driver who can be a good number 2 to Max, and it's like...
Already.
Yeah. But to be fair, that's all he's ever going to be.
If they are telling him, we only expect you to be within 1 or 2 positions of Max at each race, and if you're doing that, we're not going to put crazy amounts of pressure on you, then that's fine for you, full year 1.
Yeah, exactly.
It's if I think it so often it'll take one good result could uncork something.
Yeah.
But if you don't get some good results in those first 6 races, then Helmut Marko will write something in his Austrian column on that Red Bull and website that I forgot the name of. That'll say like, "Ooh, that's not good enough." Then everybody parrots that in English, and then all of a sudden the media's asking you questions at the next race, and then that's how the pressure builds.
Yeah.
And even though he's from, he's an Antipodean, right? He's obviously from New Zealand, not Australia. He's only ever driven 2 laps of this circuit.
Oh, I didn't think of that, yeah.
Yeah, because your local junior formula don't compete on this track. It's only used during the Formula 1 weekend.
Yeah, and he's only ever joined sort of mid-season. Yeah. This is his 3rd season, but he's still considered a rookie.
Yep. Yeah. So he's driven a Aussie V8 supercars around it as like a Red Bull promo thing, that's it.
To be fair, he's only 23, so a couple of years as a number 2 driver isn't a bad thing for him.
No, it's just if Red Bull give him the bandwidth to experiment and get used to things.
Yeah.
But they've got no one else to replace him with, so they kind of have to support him, really.
Yeah. I do think Red Bull will probably be matching McLaren for most of the season. I think they'll be behind at the start, but then catch up. But
you can't write them off.
It'll be really fascinating to see, because we know Verstappen's driving style, especially when he's in a title fight, is not the fairest, let's just say. It'll be interesting to see if he's in the 2nd or 3rd quickest car during the first half of the season. How does he race people? Because he can't afford DNFs if he's not the quickest car.
Yeah, he's got a sim racing team, Redline, and he was on their Instagram, on their Twitch, which was clipped to their Instagram, where he was saying, not sure what the result's going to be like in Australia, which is he's not very public recently. That was kind of a public admission of maybe he's not that confident. Could just be mind games, though.
Yeah, that's always hard to tell.
On to the 4th team last season, Mercedes, who have stuck with George Russell for another year and introducing rookie Kimi Antonelli, who is 18 now, is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
He looks so young and acts so young in Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
It's eye-opening. Yeah, it reminds me of the other Kimi, Raikkonen, who was very young when he debuted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's 18. There was a video clip of the 4 rookies sitting together that was circulating the other day. They'd done like an interview together, and I had to put it off after about 2 minutes because it was giving me brain rot. Like, I am officially the old man that think the young generation are just dense.
Yeah.
Like,
was it on the Formula 1 YouTube channel where it's like Meet the Rookies or something?
it might have been, but
I've not watched it.
I seen like a 2 or 3 minute clip, and I was like, I can't watch this.
I think it was from that, yeah.
So it is listening to a teenager talk. I was like, no, not for me.
Yeah, you are getting old. It's. I just said there that you can't write off Red Bull, but I think Mercedes goes in as a bit of a dark horse. Because what if they've done it? They've actually finally done it. This rule set, and the confidence that Toto Wolff has put in Kimi Antonelli must mean that he knows he's a genius, right?
It seems to be the speed is there. It's can they harness it in a way that's competitive and not just, wow, I'm fast, crash.
Yeah, and unlike Red Bull, they don't have like Toro Rosso or someone like for Max to give him a few races and then promote up.
Yes, exactly. But I think...
Although historically, that was Williams.
True. I do think the fact that he's got Lewis's old engineer, Bono, that's a big plus for him because there's all that experience of working with Lewis to push him in the right way and to guide him. Yeah, I'm very interested to see how good he's going to be because I do think he's going to be quick, but I think he's going to be erratic.
Well, that's interesting if that's the case.
It's been such a quick jump for him.
Yeah.
2022 won the Formula 4 Championship. 2023 he won Regional Middle East Championship. 2023 he won a Regional European Championship. And in F2 he finished 6th in his first season with picking up 2 wins. So it's such a quick rise to then suddenly an 18-year-old be in F1.
Yeah, it's a risk for the team. But in my opinion, he's going to either come in and after a couple of races start actually beating George Russell on a regular basis or be out of his depth. But nothing in between. And I suspect the former.
Yeah, I'm pleased they took that gamble on him though, because they could have easily said, right, Bottas.
Yeah,
we'll have him back for a year or two because the plan, I think, was always for Kimi to be there next year, not this year. But I'm pleased that they just went, right, we'll bring it forward a year.
Yeah. And Valtteri is there as well as test driver or reserve driver.
Another one looking for Cadillac?
Yes.
Although why they would touch him, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not our favourite driver.
Now, George Russell, team leader now for Mercedes.
Time to shine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Showed at times last season his class, picking up a couple of wins. Almost 3 wins, but also he was disqualified in Spa.
Aye, which we shouldn't be talking about Netflix, but it annoyed me that they didn't explain he was disqualified from that race in Netflix. It just made it look like he won.
Oh, right.
Moving on.
I didn't pay attention to that bit, but yeah.
I haven't got there yet. But, so, 2 wins last year. The end of his season, and actually his pre-season, has been fully immersed in a weird rivalry with Max Verstappen that seems one-directional.
Yes.
And is slightly bizarre. Now, it's a big season for George to step up, lead that team and show he can do it. Because going into the new rule set, there is every chance that Toto picks up the phone to a Dutchman and he could be out next season.
Yes, Toto's come out and committed that Kimi is the future of and everything like this, and is right behind George and him for this year, which he has to do. And I think yes, if Max conversations happen, it could be that it's George going, not Kimi going, right?
Well, I don't think they could drop Kimi at this point with what they've done with him. So George is fighting for his career at this season.
Yep.
Which is mad to say since he beat Lewis Hamilton pretty handily the past few years. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, and he needs to keep out all the drama that he got himself embroiled in.
Yeah.
Not sitting next to Max at the table and all this.
Yes. Yeah, it's interesting because I do think Russell's one of the better drivers in the sport, but he just hasn't been able to get that consistency when he needs it.
Yeah, but in it in the wall a few times on his own. Not great. All done with Mercedes?
Yep.
Think so.
Aston Martin? Team had a horrific test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically had no running. Everything kept blowing up.
Has Adrian made the right decision?
They built a bedroom for him.
Oh.
So he's going to be sleeping at the factory to get their car for next year in order. Which I don't know if they're past building control about putting bedrooms into a factory, but I'll leave that. Yeah, bizarre season last year. Did not deserve to finish where they finished.
No, but they started okay and then just didn't go anywhere. Which suggests to me, maybe they put all their eggs in the 2025 basket. Or 2026. Maybe they're doing that already. Maybe last year they...
Yeah. I say did not deserve to be where they finished, but everyone else below them were terrible as well. So they probably did.
Yeah. They did over the balance of the season. Just by the end of it, they were nowhere near.
Yeah. Terrible.
But it is a big change, though, isn't it? This year, they've got a lot of new personnel coming in. You've got Adrian Newey, obviously, but he's got no impact on this car yet. But he could have some later on in the season, depending how much they put into this season. But also things like they've got a new team boss replacing
Mike Crack.
Exactly. The one who was mentioned
Crack.
Several.
Got demoted.
Yeah.
Lost your crack.
Yeah, Andy Cowell's an interesting choice. Because if I remember correctly, he was the lead engineer for the Mercedes engine department. So he knows how to run a good department. Can he run a good team? Because Mike Crack, that sounds weird to say that. Mike Crack was quite absent.
Was it?
Things, if you know, they never seem, they go and speak to the team principal. His face never seemed to come up. He was quite anonymous throughout the season. And I don't know if that's
I think he was just trying to hide from Stroll.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at the road car division, that also Stroll is a steward of, I think it's on the 4th CEO now since he took over. At some point, you have to look elsewhere and not blame that role.
Yeah.
It's not, at the minute, it's not working. You have to say that the Aston Martin takeover isn't working in terms of Formula One.
No.
Broadcast seems to be getting better now. So there's a lot of pressure on Adrian Newey's shoulders.
Yeah. And realistically, what can you do when you've got an anchor in one of the cars?
Yeah.
Well, and also, I think this year, if the car's not good, what does Alonso do now?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't
He's going to just be really annoyed.
I know, but I don't think he'll jump without giving
Because of
2026 a go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He won't want to miss a chance at a potential a new rule set that benefits him. But Lance Stroll is the most disinterested race driver I've ever seen.
Even, I watched the pre-weekend interviews this morning. And he's just as disinterested now at the eve of a new season, where surely you're getting the buzz back.
It's bizarre with him as well, isn't it? Because he is actually quite a quick driver and quite a good driver. He's just...
Can be. Is he anymore?
His attitude out of the car and also in the car is he always seems entitled, which he probably is, given his background.
Oh, it's despicable.
And he expects things given to him. And that includes on the racetrack. He's always moaning about what other people are doing instead of, what can I do?
You've got someone like Teo Porcher now, who was really good in Junior Formula, couldn't get into Formula 1, and now he's trying to find something in IndyCar or WEC or Formula E.
Yeah.
And you sort of think, should have been on the F1 grid, and now it feels like that chance is gone forever.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems weird to pick out that one specific example against Stroll. I'm not necessarily doing that, but that's our main beef is... it seems like there might be more deserving people to fit into that seat. However, without Stroll being there, the team wouldn't have the funding it has.
The team wouldn't
the
be
agent
there.
knew he wouldn't have been moved across and all this stuff. So it's not all negative.
Felipe Drogovic as well, who's been the reserve for a few years.
Another great example.
Yeah.
Alpine. The absolute basket case of a team. Have been for the past few years. Now, they did not deserve to finish where they finished last year. They finished 6th.
No.
They got
that
random double podium in Brazil, which was mental.
I feel very sorry for Haas in that instance.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
me too.
They chipped away all season with like a 9th or a 10th or an 8th. Oh, one P2 and one P3.
Yep,
That's all you need.
That'll do us. So last season, they were horrific. They had a little mid-season and end-season 40, which got them their points. Gasly finished 10th in the championship. And Ocon, who was binned before the end of the season, finished 14th.
Unfairly, I thought, but there you go.
Yeah.
Now, they've signed up Pierre Gasly again this year and Jack Doohan.
Colapinto. Oh, yeah, sorry, Jack Doohan.
They've also signed Colapinto. And as Nick's noted here, they've signed about 17 other drivers.
Yeah.
And
This is the Flavio, isn't it? This is the Flavio of old, who would quite easily sign multiple contracts and conditions and exit clauses all in his favour, and then if you woke up one morning and you were out of favour, bam, Michael Schumacher's in the seat. Oh no, that was that's what happened here.
now, Jack Doohan, before he had even stepped in the car, there was news reports that he was getting sacked and booted
Which
out
is
the car.
harsh.
I know.
Absolutely mental, isn't it? I mean, how demoralising is that for? We can't say rookie now because he did one race last year, but
Effective
It's-
rookie.
But they still considered a rookie if you haven't done a whole season.
yeah, it's ridiculous. I think
Now,
that's died down a bit in the last few days. Thank goodness.
It has.
it is, but there's still stories that he's only in the car for a few races and then he could be quickly booted. Now, he finished third in F2 last year, or 2 years ago. Didn't compete last year, waiting on the F1 drive, and it would be mad if he lost it immediately. But what are Alpine's goals for this year? Let's be honest.
Survive.
Like, what is the point of having a driver's drama if you're going to be 7, 6? I mean, where do we realistically expect them to be?
I think from their point of view, they want to be somewhere at the front of the midfield. But if they're in the midfield, that's going to be as good as they can be, I think. Because the engine's underpowered, they can't get more power out of it. So the car itself has to be very good to make up for that.
Yeah. Can you imagine being a driver for the team where you know the engine's not as good?
Yes, it's tricky.
Also demoralising. I do think Doohan needs some time to get to speed.
Yes.
He might not be given it, but let's hope he is. But let's say it takes a while to get up there. They're going to be fighting with Gasly as a lead on his own. It's not ideal. At least for a few races, maybe.
Yeah, Doohan was a very quick driver in junior categories. I remember him in, I think it would have been F4 on the Toka support package many years ago. And he was the driver that looked the most exciting, was always battling through the field, making places where others were just holding positions. So there's some talent there. It's just whether or not he gets the chance to show it in that team.
He's also basically not been racing for a year, which I don't think helps sometimes.
Well, one to keep an eye on if he keeps his seat. Colapinto impressed in a few races last year, so there's definitely going to be pressure there.
At one point, he was nearly a Red Bull driver.
Yeah.
If you believe some rumours.
Yes.
And they binned it at Vegas in Brazil.
Yeah. Gasly, you know I love our peer.
Had a hair transplant?
You think?
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
So he's
Sorry, you were being ironic there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. I don't know about Gasly. I think he's a great driver. I just don't know if he'll ever get a chance at a top team again unless Alpine get there next year.
Yeah. Which they do have Mercedes power next year.
Yeah, that's bizarre. I think they want rid of that team as the ultimate thing.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's an inconvenience for them. I just think they want rid. Right, racing V-Carb, Minardi, Toro, Tauri. This
Yeah.
year.
It's weird, isn't it? How
That's
Alpha Tauri was a weird name and a weird fashion brand, but that's a name that sticks in your head still.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I got onto it. I still like Toro also. I'd
Yeah.
have left that if it was me, but
I did, even though it
so-
was just literally the Italian for Red Bull, but it
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah. Everything sounds better in Italian.
we're not going to do Italian again.
Quality.
Yeah, we're not doing Italian again.
No, I was just thinking
No,
that.
no.
What was his name?
No, we're not going there. Moving on.
I can't remember. All I've got in my head now is Tagliatelle.
No, was it Vigato?
Rigatoni.
That was it.
Was it Arriva Bene?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
The old cigarette boss,
Yes.
Yes.
which you could tell.
Handsome man. Handsome man. Another handsome man, Warrant Makes, heads up Racing Bulls again this year. Isaac Kajar has been promoted to sit alongside Yuki Tsunoda, who I remember on our season preview last season, I absolutely skewered Tsunoda, saying I didn't think he was good enough, he should be gone. And he had a respectable season, I think. He saw off multiple teammates.
Yeah, it's
handily.
not mean feat, really. Yeah.
Like, he outscored Lawson in the 6-race stretch where they had together. So,
That's a good fact.
it would be...
Smashed Ricardo.
Yeah. I think he's underrated for where he is. But I also don't think he's the next F1 world champion or anything like that. But
It's weird how another team don't poach him, I think.
Mhm. I think he'd have gone to Aston Martin if there wasn't a Stroll in the way.
Yeah, because of the Honda link as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Isaac Kajar, French driver.
Hadjar or Hadjar?
We'll find
Hadjar?
out at some point. I think it's Hadjar from the Junior Formula when they've announced him, but I'm sure Crofty will have several different
The way
ways of doing
Colin's
it.
saying it's almost like a question. Isaac Hadjar?
It is a question because I don't think I've ever heard his name actually said. Now, he finished second in F2 last year when he was driving for Campos. Picked up 2 wins. 4 wins, actually. Apologies.
Yeah, but how many actual wins? Just Formula 2, but insert rant here, but Formula 2 is such a crapshoot sometimes in terms of reverse grids
Yeah.
and different tyre compounds. And when you're trying to find out the next future world champion, I find that very difficult.
Yeah. He's got good pedigree, though, in multiple junior championships, I think. But can he make that step up?
What happens if Tsunoda trounces him?
I don't think Red Bull's got anyone on the way, have they?
Does it just leave Tsunoda there forever and not have any... Yeah, you're right. Their driver pool seems pretty thick.
They've
Cause
got
the
some
guys,
good ones. Sorry, Connie.
Well, I was going to say, the guys who were coming up around Lawson's time have all now departed. So, do you know about anyone else in the pipeline, Nick?
No, what I was going to say is they have some good ones, but they're nowhere near this level yet. They're like 2 or 3 steps below, like I think F3. So I can't remember his name. Is it up? I'm probably butchering
Arvin
this
Lindblad.
completely. But yeah, I was going to say Arvin Lindblad, so I was close.
Yeah.
He's meant to be the next big prospect there, but
He's in Formula 2.
Oh, he's actually in Formula 2 now. I thought it was still F3.
I think he's F2 this year.
So yeah, that would be interesting to see.
Gonna have to double check that now. Talk away.
Live Google search.
There is ongoing rumblings about...
Yeah, he's at
Mace-
Campos.
mainly Zach Brown trying to get this team sold off for Red Bull,
Yeah.
which it'll be interesting if they do achieve a rule change or something which forces them away. Because it is a 4-car team essentially, which is still
Strange.
strange to me.
They
It
don't
is.
need that second team, I don't think.
No, but
But someone will buy it.
they do have what seems to be the general opinion, the best livery on the grid this year. I don't know if you
Yes.
agree with that.
No, it's like that limited edition Red Bull they did for like Japan,
Mhm.
but permanent.
Yeah, I like it. It's different
It
and
made-
it's striking.
It was the highlight of the F1 75 unveil at London 2, which is another thing we've not talked about. We should do a culture episode where we
Yes.
talk about that live event, the Formula 1 movie trailer, the Lewis Hamilton, Ferris Bueller Day Off, Drive to Survive, the video game. You know, Formula 1 is such more than a sport these days. It's crazy.
True.
Anyway, back to this team. Oh, yeah.
All right, you got any more to say?
No, I had nothing. So,
That's literally it.
Haas. Esteban Ocon and Ollie Bearman. The interesting one out of those two is Bearman, who had a couple of outings last year, notably for Ferrari when Carlos Sainz sat out around, and I think he finished 7th in that race on his F1 debut. He had 2 more races, finishing 10th and 12th, which was very good. He was in a Haas, wasn't he, when Magnussen got banned?
Yes.
There was 2 instances.
Yeah.
Azerbaijan and Brazil, but were they separate things?
Well, they were both Magnussen. I think Brazil
One was illness.
Brazil was illness, and he had got a race ban, I'm sure, for Azerbaijan.
It was very impressive in Azerbaijan, I thought, Bearman, but less so in Brazil.
My favourite part was when they kept cutting to his dad during his first race, and it was like what you would expect from a dad watch his son just being chucked into an F1 car. It was brilliant.
Yeah, and he was shaking. He was stood next to is he called John Elkett?
Oh,
butchered that a bit.
I want to say Elwood, but that's probably wrong as well. But the
Elkman.
I know who you mean. The Ferrari.
Elkan. John Elkan. Oh my goodness, awful. But he's like effectively the boss of Ferrari. Now he's effectively the boss of the entire Stellantis group.
Yeah.
So he's the most powerful person in that room by miles, and his dad just turns around and gives him like a big handshake and everything. Fantastic.
It will be interesting to see, because I think Bearman done very well, or did very well, I should say. His F2 season was pretty forgettable. He did miss a couple of races because of the F1, but if he hadn't have had that call up from Ferrari, would he have had this seat?
No.
I hope he does really well, because I think he is a good driver. But it'll be interesting to see.
Ocon's a feisty character, to go up against.
Yes.
Yeah, so Ocon, I think, has fallen out with every single teammate he's ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And every single team boss he's ever had. Now, he's going into a slightly less fiery character compared to Gunther Steiner. And he's going in and beside a rookie.
Yeah.
How do you think Ocon will handle that?
I think he'll revel in it, to be honest. I think he will be thinking, I'm number one. It's just whether or not Bearman starts pushing him the way other teammates have. That's when things go wrong, is when they're on track fighting together.
Yeah, it should be Ocon's best season yet.
It should.
In terms of relative performance. You never know if the car's going to be good or not.
Well, to be fair, Haas has made quite a good step forward last year and should have finished in front of Alpine.
Yes, I agree.
On consistency basis. So, again, heading in the right direction under Ayo Komatsu.
Yeah.
Gunther Steiner, sacking him seemed to have been the best thing they've ever done.
Well, yeah.
It does. I just would like to say that, clearly just changing the person at the top isn't why the car's quicker.
No, but I think the culture of the team is better for
changed.
people to work in.
Yeah.
But like you said, the car wouldn't have changed that quickly from Gunther leaving to that.
No.
Or sorry, I should say Gunther, as Will Buxton insists on calling him in everything.
Does he actually still?
Yeah.
He's not around this year.
No.
Yeah.
Did his debut IndyCar race, and it's weird because you can't tell it's him.
Yeah,
really?
It's like he's putting on a strange, weird fake accent. So I watched the race at St. Pete, which was a crap race, by the way.
Yes.
He left to go...
Herder. He pronounces it like that. He doesn't say Hilton, Herter.
He says he left F1 to go to the most exciting series in the world, and that was a snooze fest. So, yeah, it is weird because you can tell he's putting on a fake voice for the Americans.
It must be amazing money. It's also a great opportunity for it to be back at commentary as well.
Oh, yeah.
But if you think about it, he's like the face of Drive to Survive outside the drivers and team thing.
Yeah.
And also, he's literally the face of the Lego campaign, which another thing we should talk about in our culture segment is that you can buy every single car this year.
Oh, yes, you can.
As a Lego Speed Champions. Wild.
Yeah, I think it costs £200 for the full set.
Oof,
so
yeah.
it was like, mortgage this month or 10 F1 cars.
I'm going to buy one.
It's something I forget about things like that, but yeah, I would love something like that as well.
Well, I've got the Aston Martin one last year, the one that came with the safety car and the F1 car.
Ah, yeah, that's cool.
And I've got the little Speed Champions McLaren.
Nice.
From last year. Yeah.
Yes, and I've just finished building the Ayrton Senna.
The big one.
Yeah, the Ayrton
That's an
Senna.
insane one.
Well, it's not the big one. It's like the mid-size one.
All right. Yeah, but it comes with like a little podium, does it, or something?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember now.
Yeah, it comes.
Yeah,
with
another one.
Yeah, so
Because they've just launched the Mansell one of the same size, haven't they?
yes, yeah, they have. Yeah,
Ah.
Yeah, they look amazing. Honestly, I don't have time or space, but Lego's realised that there's a market of affluent old people.
Yeah, basically.
yeah. I've worked I've nowhere to put the air centre. Like my office is full.
Yeah, that's the thing. Same.
Mm.
I've got piles of boxes of unmade Lego down here. And I've got...
Right, Williams.
Oh yes,
Extremely interesting driver lineup, and Carlos Sainz making the jump down from Ferrari, and
Yes.
Alex Albon being retained. Alex Albon going to be challenged for the first time in a good few years.
yeah. This is the big one. Big one.
Albon's been praised a lot for how he's beaten his teammates, but let's be honest, his teammates haven't really been up to much.
Yeah.
This is going to be a huge light put on him, essentially, to see, is the pace that we think is good, is it actually, as impressive as we thought it's been? Now, Carlos Sainz is well capable of winning races and potentially fight for a title. Dropping down to Williams, it's just an interesting dynamic because we don't really know where Williams will be. They'll probably be in the midfield again, and they're clearly turning their attention to next year. So it's just a really interesting dynamic there. I don't know what to expect.
No,
Probably nothing. But
I kind of
it's one
expect them
those-
to have a good start to the year and slowly tail off as the year goes on. But yeah, two very good drivers. One, as you say, who is a potential world champion, people have said, in Carlos Sainz. And yeah, Albon, who's been unchallenged at Williams pretty much. So I would be interested to see that gap between them, if there is one.
I just don't understand Sainz's rationale behind joining Williams. I'd love to know what the deals were from the other teams, and he must know more than we do. Which leads me to think, are they going all out on 26, or are they going to have like a surprisingly good car throughout this year instead?
I just don't know what other choice he had that was better in a way, looking back on it, because
Audi.
Alpine, meh. Audi are they even going to be there? Some people are saying. I think they will be. But
They are going to be there, I think. I'm certain. It's too embarrassing now. But they might be rubbish.
yeah, and all the upheaval they've had with the different management
And trying to
people.
find investors already.
Also, how bad Sauber have been, which is the team. It doesn't matter that they're going to turn into Audi. That team is not suddenly going to be, we're Audi, we're at the front. They've still got to come from where Sauber are. So I think Williams is his best mid-term bet for him to stand out and shine and then go back to a top team. I think from his point of view, that is.
The best part of Drive to Survive was, I've mentioned it again, we were supposed not to, is where they announce, he finds out that obviously Hamilton's at Ferrari, right? And then it's the first press conference of the year, and the mics pick up them, Sainz and Hamilton whispering. Hamilton says to Sainz, "Have you spoken to Toto yet?" As if to say, give him a shout.
Yeah.
And Sainz is like, "Well, he's not called me, so does that mean that he doesn't want me?" Fantastic.
Turns out, yes, didn't want you.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
Sad.
The interesting thing is James Vale said about 2 years ago that they were focusing on 2026 and building the team up for that change. Now, that's been 2 years, and this will be 3 years of building towards 2026.
Pressure's on.
If they nail it, this is going to look like the most inspired jump ever.
Yeah.
If they don't, which we've heard before in Real Changes team saying, yeah, we're focusing on that, we're going to make the jump forward. If that doesn't go well, Sainz is he going to want to stay there and hang around outside the points?
I think the contract is 2 years, isn't it, with other options and conditions, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's in Sainz's favour.
If gaps open up in the top teams in the right way, I can very much see him going back to one of the top teams. If they don't, he'll stay at Williams. But I could also see him being the person who goes back to Ferrari to replace Hamilton.
Yeah.
It could be. Yeah.
The key that unlocks all of this is Max.
Yes,
If Max,
very true.
If Max jumps to Mercedes, then you'll probably have people like Sainz and Russell in the running for Red Bull. Would Red Bull Red Bull didn't want to touch him now, only because him and Verstappen's teams and didn't really get on.
Horner said he was very expensive as well.
Yeah, but if suddenly Verstappen goes, I can see him back in the running now.
Goodness me, can you imagine if Verstappen leaves Red Bull? Who would they have?
I think the top pick would be Norris, because they've flirted with him before, but not being able to get Norris, who's apparently under a long-term deal. Sainz would probably be the one, wouldn't he?
Yeah, it probably would be, yeah.
And our final team, Sauber, who have Jonathan Wheatley joining them in April, and they go with Nico Hülkenberg and Gabriel Bortoleto as their driver lineup.
2 great drivers, 1 bad car, end of season.
Yeah, pretty much it. I'm interested to see how Bortoleto does, though, because he's the same. Well, the last person I think I can remember doing it was Russell, who won the F3 and the F2 in back-to-back seasons and then straight to F1. Someone else might have done it in between. But, yeah, he should be a good driver, but he's going to be at the back, and can he cope with that?
Yeah, and the team's basically treading water till next year anyway. So these certainly Hulkenberg's went for next year. He's not went for this year.
Oh yeah,
that do us for the teams in Sauber.
I think so.
I have no more to say about Sauber.
They're green.
They have a horrible looking car. It's like the basic livery you get in every F1 game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's green and Hulkenberg. The Hulk is green, although the Hulk's red now. That's confusing.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Okay, predictions. We are going to make 5 predictions, the same ones that we did last year. Going to start with Drivers' Champion. Gents, Drivers' Champion, who do we think?
I'm going Max again. Bam. Said it. Locked it in. But it is a very difficult call this year. Could it be Leclerc? That's what I'm thinking.
I'm just thinking that as well as it goes. Now, you have to say Max.
Oh.
No one else has shown the consistency over a season so far to be able to challenge him.
And the chutzpah when it comes to the crunch.
I'm surprised neither of you mentioned Norris, considering McLaren looks the quickest.
Are you going for that?
No, I'm going for Leclerc.
Oh!
I just wanted to throw that out there that no one mentioned Norris.
I certainly think he's capable of it, but he seemed a little bit fragile at times, didn't he? But
everybody's good friends until you're championship rivals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who did you say, Tom, by the way?
Max. Yeah.
You did say Max. Right. I shall put that in.
It's like I'm on a game show. Just put it into the equalizer and the results are going to come out. Oh, number 47.
Constructors. McLaren won it last year. Before that was Red Bull domination.
Yeah,
I'm going for McLaren.
Yeah, I would have to say the same as well. Mercedes are not consistent enough.
No, the only reason I'm not saying Ferrari is Hamilton's an unknown for me this year.
Exactly.
Whereas I feel like I know what I'm getting with McLaren.
In Fred we trust. I'm going Ferrari.
Well done. Now, first in-race crash. So the first race is Australia, where there is heavy rain forecast for Sunday. And we have, 4, 5 rookies on the grid? And Lance Stroll. So, first in-race crash. Tom.
Doing. Crashing out of his own race in ignominious fashion.
Max.
Ooh.
Whoa. Wild.
That's the wrong box, Nick.
I know, I just saw that.
Don't you be putting things on the on his head. I'm going with Stroll because I think he's absolutely useless.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Hard to disagree.
Last in the Constructors' Championship. Last season it was Sauber.
Mm-hmm.
And this season it's going to be Sauber.
Pretty much. I think Bortoleto it has to be.
Oh, we're talking...
No, it's Constructors' Championship. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Constructors. So, yeah.
You're right, Nick.
No, not really. It's been a long day. Sauber, yes.
I kind of just want to go different to be interesting, but
You've got to bank those points.
yeah, we'll just stick with Sauber then.
Yeah,
was-
already put
You
it in.
influenced your decision there. Come
I
on,
know.
say McLaren.
I wanted to say Aston, just for the fun.
Oh,
But-
do you know? I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility, though.
They've got enough money to fix it. If they are horrific at the start, they'll be better by the middle. Now, we might have forecasted this one already, talking about Jack Doohan's contract, but the first driver replaced this season for non-medical reasons or non-suspension reasons. So actually replaced.
Yeah.
Who do we think's under pressure? Let's run through that quickly first. Williams and Sauber are fine. I think Haas are fine. Racing Bulls, you never completely know, but I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Alpine, Doohan, who knows? Aston, I think are fine.
Yeah.
Mercedes, I think are fine. Red Bull,
Yeah, I think it is basically Lawson, Hadjar, and Doohan, I think, are the three most likely. Possibly Bortoletto if he's awful, but I don't think he will be.
I don't think this one. I think it's going to be Doohan,
Yeah.
but I'm going to say Lawson. I don't hope that's the case, but
Yeah.
I'm just
does it count if Lawson gets demoted back to RB
Yeah.
and Sonoda gets promoted?
Yeah.
Because if it does, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking about Antonelli? The fact that they've re-signed Bottas there. What happens if he has an absolute stinker?
Yeah.
I think the most likely again is Doohan, but I'll go Antonelli just to be different.
I will go with Doohan then, just because
Yes.
it will be him.
Nick gets a guaranteed point.
Yeah.
I know, and if Kimi is dropped, it's not going to be by race 6, which apparently where Doohan's contract ends.
Dear, oh dear.
And unless he is last. So, it's crazy.
That is crazy, that. That's just not fair.
Yeah. So, there's our predictions for this year. We'll probably try and remember and look at them at the end of the year.
Yeah. Try to.
So, we'll finish up with a couple of bits of news. We'll do more news in an Australia episode next week. So we're starting off in Melbourne this week. We've got 6 sprints this year. China, Miami, Spa, Austin, Brazil and Qatar.
Yeah,
Spa. Yes. Spa is going on rotation in a couple of years' time. So it's going to drop off the calendar in 2028 and 2030.
It's not ideal, but at least it is sticking around in some shape or form. I'd rather this than lose it completely.
Cadillac have finally got their entry. So they are going to be joining as 2026, which
Good
seems
old
very,
Bottas
very...
Perez lineup.
Yes, it seems very near.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's too close to be at the sharp end anyway, in my opinion.
And to be honest, I think they'll go for an American driver or a North American driver. So it's
Yes.
someone like Colton Herter.
I think so.
Jump across.
They do have that advantage, which probably won't mean anything, but they have been able to work on their car as much as they like, whereas all the other teams have only been able to start work from, I think it was the 1st of January this year, by the regulations, because Cadillac were not covered by those regulations until they're officially announced as a team.
Still think they're going to struggle.
Yes, so do I, but they've had a lot more lead-up time to it.
Because it's not just buying a team, is it? It's like Audi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's from scratch. Last time that happened was Haas, I believe.
Yeah, and they did really well, surprisingly.
With a lot of borrowed technology,
Yes.
I would say.
Yes, that's what's going to be interesting to see what Cadillac do. Are they...
Ferrari engine Cadillac is just weird.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, but are they going to do what Haas did and buy all the old bits from Ferrari, or are they going?
Well, probably, yeah.
Are they going to try and build their own things?
I think you have to borrow to start with, but they are going to. Or the plan initially is to then create their own engines, and that's.
Yes, rumoured for 2028, but it depends if they keep up with that.
I could see that. Postponed, pushed back, and then never happening, but let's see. It's taken Red Bull an enormous amount of effort, and they're the preeminent team of recent years.
They could carry on taking over the Ferrari stuff from Haas because they're going to be Toyota anyway, so.
Yes.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have Toyota back. And probably the final bit of news in terms of our preview, the fastest lap point's gone.
Oh, yes.
Oh, right.
I don't know if I'm going to miss it or not. It made those races where nothing was happening interesting, but for a race that's already got some excitement, it didn't really add anything.
That point is Daniel Ricciardo's legacy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Or taking that point away, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's probably us.
It's a very showbiz season. It's more about the movie, and the Netflix show, and the Lego, and the celebrity, the cult of celebrity, and Hamilton and Ferrari. So now it's time to just shut up and do some racing.
Yeah.
Bring it
And
on.
we all hope that there's 4 teams fighting.
Yes, that's the
at
key
the
thing.
top
At least,
with-
let's go 10.
Yes. With at least, 6 of the drivers there, you could say, are race winning capable.
Yeah.
So, very exciting. So, we'll all see what happens, and we'll be back next week after Australia, recapping the first weekend. Are you guys getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch it?
Yes. I
Possibly.
don't know, actually, 4 is a bit early.
I'll see. I tend to wake up in the middle of the night anyway and then just go back to sleep, so it depends what
Let's
happens.
time it with this.
Yeah.
If it was 5, definitely. 4...
It's weird how the times have shifted, because I remember getting up, or rather staying up, to watch the Australian Grand Prix when I was younger, because it was on at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Whereas it's not really a stay up time, it's a get up early time now.
If I get to sleep by 9, I'm going to do it.
I was just checking when the clocks change in case it was this weekend, but we've got another few weeks.
Yeah, there's that weird time. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Changes on my birthday
Oh,
this year.
So you do get an extra hour?
I think it's the other way around, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can never work it out.
Spring forward, isn't it?
It is, but I still don't know what that means. I have to really think about it to think, what does that mean? Extra hour or not?
Yeah.
No, it means... Oh, does it?
It means that one day is 25 hours and one day is 23.
But which one?
Formula 1, let's go.
Right.
This is the kind of content
This is
you
it.
come
This
for.
is why we're not F1 journalists.
And we are vowing to
Proudly.
cover more races this year.
Aye, let's see what happens.
This is our 5th year, and we will try and hit every race. There are
Is it really?
24 of them. So
That's actually mad.
Yeah.
Quite proud of that.
Did you not listen during the intro
Oh, did you say it this?
when Colin said that?
yeah,
Right, it's time to go.
I think
Bye.
we're tapping out. So
See ya,
thank you
see ya.
very much for downloading. Make sure you subscribe. We'll be back next week with our first race review. And then coming up in a few weeks' time is our most popular episode of every single season. It'll be our BTCC preview episode. But we've got some F1 to go before then.
Lovely.
So make sure you
Yes.
subscribe and you'll get all of that. So Tom, Nick, thank you very much. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Goodbye.